I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Stop the music. What's going on? It's a podcast under some name. How you guys doing? What is this called? I have no idea. Well, this is one of the things where, so this is a podcast. This is, by the way, a couple information. This is a one-off podcast. We're not restarting the thing. Second of all,
we're all special, Minius. A reunion special.
How the hell you've been in here for like 5 minutes, and I thought about this review, and you're already got a better plan than I do.
To anyone who's like, "Where's the podcast?" We were just like, "Well."
But it's like,
all
is
right.
it Andromeda nerds? Is this accidentally casual? Like,
how about we introduce everyone?
It's whatever you want it to be, guys.
This is the longest we've gone without introducing anybody. I usually had a script up. My name is Minius from Minius GC. Let's go around the room. With me is SeekerCat, formerly of Accidentally Casual, and we have the original Andromeda nerds, Tucker.
hello.
There. And the man formerly known as BioFan, Eric.
Hi. BioFan can't come to the phone right now.
It's weird calling you Eric.
Because she's dead.
I believe when we met in person, I called you BioFan.
Oh, yeah.
When we were all in California, we still all called each other by our YouTube names.
Yeah.
Because we're that cool.
To be fair, it's like if someone has a nickname, you don't necessarily use everyone's full name in casual conversation. So it's like, oh yeah, Minius and BioFan, whatever.
But BioFan takes longer to say than Eric.
I know,
and Minius takes longer to say than Greg, which is my real name.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't think I knew your real name is Greg.
Yeah, it's in there. I did an interview with one of the Bioware with I think Aaron Flynn, and he started calling me Greg, so that's sold me out.
That's out there now.
That's out there. Yeah. Okay, so what's going on? First of all, the reason we're here is because something happened in the Mass Effect world. Two things actually.
Really?
Yeah. And we're recording late because this is just like every single podcast we were gonna do. We couldn't get a time to record.
We had to keep tradition.
And so we finally were able to record about a week later, and an ability drain was going to be on, and our internet's not working. So
because it's currently a storm.
Just like old times.
This is just like every podcast we've ever done.
It's like the before times. Before 2020 just fucks everything.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
First of all, I was super shocked all you guys wanted to do the podcast. Like immediately.
Yeah, and immediately said so. Within like about 5 minutes, everyone was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Sure. All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was exciting because they finally announced the remaster, which everyone kind of knew about.
Yeah.
It's never officially announced it, so it was just kind of exciting that they announced that.
Well,
those remaster rumors really started to get to me because they weren't announcing it, and I started to become convinced that it wasn't real.
I felt like it was a very smart business move for them. Without getting too negative, I feel like the Mass Effect franchise needed a little positivity boost in public perception. So I felt like the best way to do that was take the old original trilogy that everyone loves, bring it into the modern era so everyone kind of like falls back in love with it again. That way, when you introduce a new title, people are in a more positive place than at the end of Mass Effect 3 and then having played Andromeda and then all of that happening in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. I think that's exactly the best move they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to, if they're going to restart the franchise up, just try to turn the mood, because at the moment, and it's really the reason that we weren't YouTubing anymore, the negativity around the Mass Effect franchise is just so intense.
Yeah. It was a lot. I occasionally would look back at all of our channels, and one of my favorite things is that BioFan's last video is called Mass Effect Isn't Dead. And I'm like, oh.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah. Hey, guess
Amazing.
what? I wasn't wrong.
Evergreen video. Title at least.
I still
And
have
also
like some
another thing
old.
kind of
like-
happened in between last time we recorded anything, which was Dragon Age 4 shit got revealed, which blew the minds of everyone. It was like, shit, that's still happening? Hurrah!
I mean,
We can get to that in a bit. If we
Yeah.
start on Dragon Age, you guys will not stop.
that's
No.
true.
Theoretically, we're
Once
talking
you
Mass
open
Effect.
that
I
can
also
of
just wanted to
worms,
throw
it
in that-
just- yeah.
I also want to throw in that they're also going to relaunch Anthem.
Okay,
As well as-
no one
Oh, oh.
asked for that.
Like
No one.
Well, no. Apparently,
No,
the
here's the
Anthem
thing.
community is pretty excited about that. It's supposed to have fixed
What
a lot of
Anthem
things.
There's
community?
about 4 friends
There's-
of mine on
there's 8
Twitter
of us.
who are the most ardent Anthem fans, and I love them to bits. So good for them, is what I say.
So
There
four
are
people.
these are
Destiny
slightly
did
related.
something similar.
The reason that Anthem is related to the Mass Effect remaster is because it is a remaster, not a remake.
Mhm.
They're not remaking the combat, just so they're not adding stuff.
I thought they were with Mass Effect 1. Isn't that kind of what the word?
No, you know what? I don't know for sure because they haven't officially said anything.
They've
Yeah.
literally said nothing other than showing a few vague.
Yeah, I could
assets.
read.
Not even full visuals. Assets.
Yeah, that's kind of heartbreaking a little bit, but
I'll
also kind of
read all the official stuff. How about that? It's
So-
tough keeping a big secret, and we really struggled to keep this one a surprise, but now it's official. Today, this was from N7 Day, we announced the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We've heard for years requests for a Mass Effect remaster, so we're happy to finally reveal that we've been working on a remastered edition of the Mass Effect trilogy.
I would have loved like the shade if they ended. We've listened to you for years and years and years and years and years requesting a remaster.
Or at the
Because
very
literally
end, it's
anytime
like coming
EA does
soon.
anything, it's like Mass Effect remaster. Here's a new game, Mass
And-
Effect remaster every time.
I believe they
The-
recently... Go ahead, BioFan. Or
The
you're not
only
BioFan
thing-
anymore, you're Eric. Shit.
Yeah. You're gonna do that another 10 more times. It's okay.
I agree.
The only thing that concerns me is they're projecting it for spring 2021, which means March. Just that's
Uh-huh.
what it means. And because that's the end of their fiscal. And the only thing we've seen so far from a title that's supposed to be released in a few months is like a few asset images. No like gameplay footage, no like screenshots, just like
This never ended
very
badly
little,
before.
which
That's
concerns me, given that in the past, say like the Andromeda launch trailer, they didn't have a script, they didn't have a story, they didn't even know who those characters were. Like
This is a remaster, though.
yeah, I know,
Master
but
Collection got announced.
Do you
was
want me to
very similar.
continue
It was
the...
a animation that was shown. That was
Here.
not even in the game at all. It was just a trailer, a cinematic trailer for the Master Chief Collection. But it was just an announcing the remaster. It's-
What is
same
this Master
game.
Chief? What is this Master Chief collection?
Yeah.
What game is it? Halo? Wait, you like Halo?
I worked on
What?
Master Chief Collection. I gotta work
Alright,
on that. And I gotta
Oh,
work
is
in
that a
Bungie.
Beyonce game?
I will. Let's finish reading the Bioware blog post, or I will do that because it actually answers some of the questions we might have.
I didn't even know there was
Yeah.
a blog post. So like, hit it.
That's where the official announcement was. Yeah.
I scanned it when it on N7
Yeah,
Day.
it's great. This is the first time I'm actually reading it through, which is
Yay.
embarrassing because I've talked about it a bunch. All right. For many months now, our team at BioWare has been hard at work updating the textures, shaders, models, effects, and technical features of the 3 enormous games. Our goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. So, and I'm not going to read all of it now, I'm realizing. So it's basically faster frame rates, visual enhancements, that kind of thing. I
Decent
can't
fucking
imagine-
hair.
Decent hair.
Oh Lord.
They did not mention that, so that might not be in the game.
They better fucking be,
I don't think it will
or I
be.
riot.
I
Like,
so
no fugly hair for Shepard in 2021.
that and like the character creator for the trilogy, it was very hard to make a Shepard that didn't look like they had far too much work done. So
It really was.
it
Yeah.
was really hard. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it's a little bit more beefed up in the character creator department. And I remember when like the rumors first started, granted these are still unconfirmed, but like they were looking at creating like a single combat system. So like making it kind of closer to Andromeda's combat system, or like at least Mass Effect 3's like ability
Yeah,
to
I think it's
combat, so
3's,
like a streamlined, consistent.
Yeah.
Considering
thing
I've been
throughout
very
all three.
vocal about my hate for the combat system in ME1.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
Mass
no
Effect
one likes
1's
it.
combat does not really
There-
hold up.
There are people who loved it, but
I mean,
I-
it's enjoyable.
Minius,
But-
those are the same 4 people that are excited about Anthem.
No.
I actually kind of like Mass Effect 1's gameplay, but man, oh man, does that not hold.
yeah,
Hold up.
But it is jarring. If you're jumping from Mass Effect 1 to immediately Mass Effect 2 and the remaster with them like right next to each other in that game,
Yeah.
that's a big
I
gameplay
remember-
difference.
I bet that's
completely
what's...
revamped the combat for 2 and 3, and the guns feel different. The powers are a lot easier to use. It's,
I mean, the ammo
it's
is completely different. It was
Yeah,
not
they-
heat-based.
So I bet they're gonna make like they're just gonna take, at worst, maybe take Mass Effect 3's combat system and just like have that bleed into 2 and 1.
I expect it's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be a paint job, which, to be
literally
honest,
just a paint job, like nothing else.
Nah,
That
they're
is
they're gonna
my
give a little bit more love than that. They
anticipation.
have to. They have
Yeah.
to.
Why?
Because if it
Why?
is just a paint job, then I think the community that is still holding on to BioWare will have lost hope. Then, like BioWare
Really?
knows that a lot of people are that the Mass
they
Effect
need to
trilogy
buy
is
some
loved.
goodwill.
Like if they're gonna
Yeah,
do it,
they-
because EA never does remasters, they need to do it right. You know?
but here's the thing though. How much more
They're doing
work is
remasters.
that?
Like if they
Um,
want to, so essentially, like this is their easy street way to make the franchise's public opinion positive again. I mean, I love Mass Effect. Everybody here loves Mass Effect. There are a lot of people that are a little jaded about it, and I feel like this is their for sure way to kind of turn opinions around and make the perception positive again. So I would think they would want to invest a lot of care into that. And like a paint job, granted, I'm not a game developer. I feel like a paint job is not necessarily like the most high budget thing to do. So I feel like they could do like a little bit more outside of that.
In all
Question
fairness,
for
when I
people
say
that game more than I do, though, with other popular franchises that have done a remaster like this,
it's almost always a paint job.
Oh, it's almost always
Well-
just a paint job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
like Gears of War, they had a remaster that was for the most part a paint job, but they also added in an entire mission that was missing from the original game.
oh.
Like they,
Considering
They-
also that if you think about it, they've confirmed somewhere, this was a while ago, but they recorded all the lines for Caden and Ashley's same-sex romance. They just sort of didn't implement them. So
I mean,
in
I'm sure there's a lot of
theory,
low-hanging
there's
Seeker has
still
my
stuff they have.
attention.
Of course, I knew I would. Like in theory, like that's shit they have that they could just put back in with like additional cutscenes and stuff.
I'm afraid to get people's hopes up, man.
well, understandable,
hopes
but
are up.
there's a lot
It's
of
done.
low-hanging fruit that they can easily
You're going after
use and
people's fruit again.
transition with. There's
I mean,
Yeah,
if they,
I see what you're saying, but
if
My
they
hope
have the
is-
lines, and let's face it, the first Mass Effect game has no facial animations, because this was a long time ago before we had facial animations.
by the way, Mass Effect 1
Mass
came out
Effect.
13 years ago today
No,
on the
shut
day
up.
I'm releasing this podcast.
No, it didn't. No, that's
13
terrifying.
years
no.
ago today.
No, it didn't.
I mean, I'm looking at
You're
other
lying.
late
November Yeah, November 16th, 2007.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm looking at
when
other
did 3 come out?
remasters, like-
2012.
Now I'm hoping for gay Caden content in the remaster
Yeah.
for Mass Effect 1. Thanks,
So-
Seeker.
For sure.
So if they do that, you'll be 100% sold on this, and it's super
Oh yeah,
positive?
100%. It'll be done for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm already sold on
Eric.
this. I'm a Bioware shill.
Eric,
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to imagine something for a moment.
Yeah.
Next gen graphics, Kane Nalenko.
It's a beautiful, beautiful image.
Isn't
I
it?
just Next Gen Space Bay is a
Mhm,
beautiful
the
thought.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
A photo mode would be nice. Like, considering a lot of people just seem to put that in now. Like, why not? There's worse things.
Something that I have a little concern with, sometimes when companies make remasters and things like that, because when I was working on the Master Chief Collection, this was one of the things, is legacy bugs, which are bugs that are in the original game that they don't end up fixing.
Oh
And
no.
there is one
There's a lot.
specific bug in Mass Effect. Well, I mean, they will fix like a decent amount of them, but there are some that don't get fixed. And in Halo, like there's ended up being achievements for Easter eggs and things like that. But there's one bug in Mass Effect 1 that it ends your game, or it doesn't end your game, but you have to shut it off and relaunch it. And that's on the Citadel, on one of the bridges. If you're running against the railing, you get stuck on it, and it lifts you like an inch off the ground, and you cannot move. You cannot do anything. And my hope is that gets fixed. If anything with this remaster, I want that to get fixed, because that thing ended so many playthroughs where I was just going through and I get stuck on there.
you know what? That literally never happened to me, and it
Yeah,
confirms
same.
I
me that
didn't even
you
know
are
it
a
was a
fucking
thing.
squirrel.
So
You're a fucking. What are you running into the railing for repeatedly?
I 100%
What's wrong with you?
all of the achievements in Mass Effect 1, and that included beating the majority of the game with like 2 certain squad mates.
Yeah, I
every
remember
thing.
that.
So I ran around the Citadel, like finding all of those whatever, I can't remember the names of the
Keepers?
ones.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
keepers. Oh my god.
I hate
mission.
Yeah, that
those.
one's a little rough.
Just like, it's such a fucking snipe hunt as well, especially as like there's no like map reference for it, so you've just got to either like use a guide like I did, or you just gotta hope and pray as you run up to one, like, please don't say I got this one already, please don't say I got this one already. Either way,
Let's go into positives. What are you most looking forward to replaying in the
the
original trilogy?
whole thing. Honestly, I just
That is
wanna,
not
like,
a good answer.
no, I
Dig
just,
do
what I
something
mean,
specific.
let me finish. What I mean is that it's been so long since we've had, because I haven't been able to play, because kind of a host of reasons, but I haven't been able to play the trilogy through for a while now. So what I am so looking forward to is hopefully a Mass Effect 1 with combat I actually enjoy. Mass Effect 2, just the whole suicide mission is some of the best shit BioWare's ever done.
There's an answer.
But and
Oh,
with
that's good.
3 is also my favorite game of the trilogy, and it punches me in the feels every time. I cry every time. It's either some new part will get me in a way that it just didn't resonate with me before, or I'm seeing something a certain way. But it's just, that's how dense and versatile this writing is that you can play something through multiple times, even as I do it, pretty much picking the same dialogue options every single time. And at some point, you'll be paying attention to something slightly differently, or you'll reconsider a different point of view, and stuff will just hit differently for some reason. And that's why we love it.
4K.
You know what's something that's really amazing though is the guy who plays Mordin in Mass Effect 3 is a guy called Eric Sellers, I think, and he also voiced Dr. Otto Octavius or Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man PS4. So I was like, for God's sake, stop voicing mad scientists! Stop breaking my heart with your mad scientists! Damn it! He does
That's
such a
also
good
all
job.
in love with
looking
mad
forward to
scientists?
most is a mad scientist. Is that
Yes.
what we're hearing? Okay, that's the answer to that question for you.
Yeah, I want to see my space base in like super ultra high def next gen graphics because there's worse things in life, and
Okay.
I want to smooch Thane and all sorts.
Wow. What did I ask?
What are we most looking forward to?
That was
that's
like a
basically
long
answered
running
the question. Yeah.
That was a really comprehensive answer there, Seeker.
Wow. Look at you trying harder than we are going to. Former
I just have a
BioFan
lot of love
Eric.
for this. Okay. I'd love it if it was next. It was just like, oh, Caden's abs. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Great.
I am looking
5 words.
looking forward to those. Yes. But I would say Seeker got my hopes up that they add the same-sex romance lines for Caden and Ashley, since they apparently just have those sitting around somewhere. But I
think someone found them.
I mean they're in the code of the game. They're just not attached to something.
Animated.
So they just didn't have time to implement them, I guess.
Well, they did. It's homophobia.
Priorities. Anyway, sidestepping that negativity there. I am really looking forward to like the really big story moments that made me just like fall in love with the series. So like Seeker mentioned the suicide mission. Can't wait for that. And then also like Mass Effect 3 right until you get up to the ending is a fucking amazing story. Like the whole time you're playing, you're like, oh my god! So like
the entirety of Priority to Chunka.
Just
my
the
god.
whole thing. But I think like the peak of that game is like when you get to the attack on the Citadel, you're just like the whole time.
My emotions.
So I can't wait to do the attack on the Citadel and hopefully have more gay Caden content, because that'd be great. Yeah. So that's the answer to that question for me.
Solid answer.
One little tiny thing that's entirely self-indulgent, but I really
You're not done.
wish they would do this. Shut up!
I like how Seeker was answering the question for me at times.
Yeah. All right, Seeker, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, since we had Robin Sachs, who voiced Saeed, he passed away a little bit after Mass Effect 3 came out. So I was just going to say, just like some kind of like memorial or statue to him, or like an additional reference to him would be super nice. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah. I imagine the pandemic, which is going on, just like on Omega, Mass Effect 2, which I think about all the time. That may make that a little bit hard to do a bunch more stuff.
You know what was really?
Just have people wearing masks.
Oh my god, that would have solved the pandemic.
People.
Why can't those Batarians wear a mask? It would have solved everything. God damn it.
Well, to be fair, it's everyone except humans, so.
Yeah, so the humans don't need to wear masks because it's their right.
You know what's something that's really fucking funny though is that since lockdown started, my partner has basically entirely accidentally played games exclusively ones that have like some sort of plague or epidemic in it, like between The Last of Us 2 and Resident Evil and all sorts of shit. It's like, oh yeah, there's a plague going on. It's like, stop playing things that have a plague in it.
You gotta be on theme, you know.
It wasn't on purpose. It was just like, oh yeah, I want to play that, and inevitably there'd be a bit where it's like, oh no, like when the plague or / epidemic hit, and I'm like, stop it. I'm playing games for escapism, damn it.
While Last of Us 2 takes place in Seattle, where I live, like I literally walk down the street that I live in, like,
I had to tell you that. I was like, oh, how are you enjoying Last of Us 2? And I was like, oh, I'm not playing it. It's like, Tucker, it's set in Seattle, you realize. It's like, oh, okay, I'll get it.
All right, so the question was, and this is just like every podcast we've ever done. If you're new to this, this is nothing new for us.
This is how we do it.
What are you most looking forward to playing? Oh, we're getting some weird feedback. Apologize again for the audio.
Eric's being hacked by the Geth.
It's not
audio reverb there.
Eric, you're on your phone, right, Eric?
On my phone.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Eric.
Text
Does
setup.
this unit have a soul?
You know, if I ask Alexa that, she replies like "Hila Silai" or however
Kill
you.
lie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Alexa, does this unit have a soul?
Kila Salai, my
Oh.
friend.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's actually great.
Oh my god, my computer screen just turned to Amazon. Oh my god, wait. Oh, I hit the tab button. There we go. I hit the
Oh
tab.
no!
All right, back to so Tucker can answer the question. What are you most looking forward to replaying in the Mass Effect trilogy?
So there's two sort of things I'm kind of looking forward to with it. One of them is instead of playing each of the games individually, playing each game as one long whole piece, because that will make that ending of Mass Effect 3. Instead, the entirety of Mass Effect 3 is Act 3 of the story. So if you just play the first one, then go immediately to the second one, immediately to the third one, and treat it like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, I think that would kind of alleviate some of that whole, like, oh, the Mass Effect 3 ending if you just treat the entire game as an ending of itself. So having that ability with the remaster to do would be kind of cool, as well as other things. Like, I would love to see them work with some low-hanging fruit possibilities, like making subtle nods to Andromeda in Mass Effect 2. Like, you have PB sitting at a bar or something that you can just, like, kind of walk by and you recognize that she's there, or you hear something on the news about the Andromeda Initiative. Just some small change that's like a low-hanging fruit.
Nyreen and Vetra are cousins, right?
It's what?
Nyreen and
Nyreen
Vetra
and
are
Vetra.
cousins, right?
Yeah. Like,
so
just something,
like you can totally have them like
just some
like
low
reference her on Omega or
hanging
something.
fruit. Just some low-hanging fruit changes that could drastically improve either the feeling of the continuity or just the quality of life of the game.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see those changes.
I like this answer.
Well, I mean, this is an answer coming from a game designer, but okay.
Yeah, this is. I think. Once again, I think.
Tucker said that in the
additions are gonna be
chat,
difficult.
and I was so close to stealing it, just to be like, "Oh, it's totally my idea." And I was like, "No, I'll be nice."
I cheated.
not
I've been
steal his
working in the
idea."
game industry the past few years. Like, the reason I'm out here in Seattle is because I finished a contract with Bungie. My name's in the credits of Destiny 2.
I know. I found it. I sent you a photo of it because my partner finished it because he plays Destiny 2. I was like, "Hey, Tucker, your name's in the credits. Look, here's a screenshot."
Got me really excited.
Oh no!
That's so
That's
cool.
the first time.
Congratulations.
It's the first time my name's been in the credits of a game. I've worked on Madden 19. I've worked on the Master Chief
I
Collection.
will fucking dig into my phone and find that so we can put it in the video.
I would love that. I'm hoping to do another slideshow, which is basically going to be made up of like 4 pictures, because it's easier that way, including one of Conrad Berner that just zooms in and out on his face.
It's nice to know he's still alive and healthy.
He's in the corner. I still laugh when I see him.
Speaking of,
And it's been like 4 years.
I forget again, who watched the Jennifer Hale's N7 Day Mass Effect cast reunion? Because I did. It's so good. It's so good. Like,
do you want to give us a breakdown of what we?
Okay, I'll give you a breakdown. Basically, it's especially hilarious because Jennifer Hale had no idea the remaster was happening. She just wanted to do something nice to the fans for N7 Day. So when that happened to hit, on top of the Biden being announced, the president-elect, it was like,
something
wow,
else kind of
yeah. So not only is everyone just super sweet and super accommodating, they read out some lines and answer some fan questions, and they'll just make you melt, just absolutely melt. Eric Sailors, who's Morden, sings "I am the very model of a scientist Solarian," and yeah, it's just like it's just the biggest collection of the sweetest people who have nothing but love for the franchise and the fans and why they love it. And Karen and Patrick Weeks were on it as well, and they were just and Caroline Livingston, who's the voice director for Mass Effect and Dragon Age. and it's just so flipping good. And if I highly recommend everyone should flock to Jennifer Hill's YouTube channel and watch the whole thing because it's so sweet.
I probably will at some point.
Yeah, because they got like pretty much everyone you can imagine, like Mark Meir, Jennifer Hale. Patrick Weeks at one point talks about how he was trying to find excuses for Mark Meir and Jennifer Hale to be to have a scene together or bounce off each other. And Mark suggested for the DLC, when you have a Shepherd clone, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was like a reverse gendered clone or something? So like if you were a male Shep, you'd be fighting a Jennifer Hale Shep clone, even though that would make absolutely no sense in context, but who cares?
I think people would have really loved that.
There's not just that, but BioWare yesterday put up something called Omniblades in the Dark. It's
yes.
3 hours long, but it looks. I skipped around a little bit with it, but it looks like D&D in a sense.
It is. It's not quite D&D, but it's a system. I forget. It's like Blades in the Dark. So they appropriated Blades in the Dark, which is a tabletop game, as a Mass Effect system, and they had Jennifer Hale and Mark Meir. Mark Meir's playing a Vorcha, which R.I.P. his vocal cords, and Jennifer Hale was playing a Solarian. And I'm meaning to catch up to it. I haven't done it yet because I'm trying to catch up on so many podcasts, you guys. I was like, I have to commit to being caught up on at least one before I start this. Okay.
On Vorch Effect, while they were making the audio for other languages in Mass Effect, the other language teams asked the English people how the hell they manipulated the Vorcha voice, and they didn't. It's just Mark Meir.
That reminded me, that was I think my favorite part of the whole N7 Day thing was Patrick Weeks wrote a line where if you were in a romance with Jack during the party in the Citadel DLC, Jack would say something to the effect of, "Oh, we're going to do it on the pool table later," and Steve Cortez says, "You know, people eat there, right?" And Jack says, "Damn right they do."
Yeah.
And now to me that I was stitches, it's so good. And directly after that they did Liara's voice, Liara's romance dialogue, and I think it was Courtney Taylor suddenly yelled, "To the pool table!" So like, if to the pool table doesn't become a meme in the Bioware fandom, you have all failed me. So
originally we started this conversation, I was asking everybody what they most look forward to replaying the Mass Effect tournament, and I never got to go.
It's your turn now.
Yeah,
what are you looking forward to, Minius?
I want to relive the Vigil conversation. It's probably my favorite moment in gaming.
And that's Mass Effect 1, right?
Yeah, and I still think about that.
Interesting.
I thought it was Vigil. Virgil is
it's Vigil. Yeah,
Devil May Cry character.
Well, he's a.
And that's it. Wait, is that it? Yeah. Just that conversation.
That is the most. The Saren's thing at the end, I really enjoyed, and I suppose the other moment that sticks with me a bit is Cerberus's invasion of the Citadel, which we talked about. Which is, you're like, whoa. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna record the whole thing, and I'm gonna wrap up some videos on it, and I'm looking forward to that. But that sticks with me because I was like, oh my god, this is the best game I've ever played.
I'm gonna try to stream the game when it comes out.
I thought about that, and then I don't like streaming. I don't want to pay attention
and everything.
Yeah, I don't want to talk over me play. I won't play the game right. Maybe I'll do a couple things.
I feel like I'm being watched.
When y'all play the game,
you literally are being watched. No wonder you feel that way.
So when y'all play the game, are you gonna play it the way that you have previously, or are you gonna do this playthrough a new way?
I'm gonna make it my official playthrough again, and then that's
I'm gonna do the choices I like, and then I'm maybe gonna do a second playthrough of Super Duper Renegade and just like asshole Shep. Yep.
Damn, we're all boring.
I have a handful of in
I've
my
played
mind.
it in a lot of different ways already. It's not.
Yeah. I
just
it's
mean,
not gonna. There's not gonna be some new unless they added something in.
Well,
there's
that's
not
what I'm
gonna be
wondering.
some new
If they change
outcome.
things around, how...
If I find out they added something new, I will stop and go and play the new stuff.
Question for the group. Likely,
Uh-huh.
like real quick sound off. No, like 10-minute tangent from Seeker on this. Just like
Okay.
real quick, like
I think I found a loophole in
likelihood
this agreement.
percentage on them for the Mass Effect 3 ending, doing that like stuff they added in after like expanded stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that's 100% on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's going to be one of the low-hanging fruits they're absolutely going to expand on. They're going to extend the entire final fight 100%.
We'll see about that. I was thinking
My
just
partner's convinced they're going to change the ending, which I don't think is likely at all.
I don't think they're going to change the entire ending, but I think that
They
they're
could
They
add
might
another
just
option.
add more to it, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I think they could. Yeah.
There's going to be more. My prediction is there's going to be more individual interactions with your squad mates.
That would be nice. That was what the game was. I think they would solve a lot of the ending stuff if they had that.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by like some low-hanging fruits that could have absolutely change drastically people's feelings of the game. And I also hope that they cut down that turret section. And that Mass Effect 3. That went on for way too long.
Really?
Oh, it did.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I don't
it
remember
was
that being very long.
But it
So,
just
like,
it went on for a little longer.
Are you adding more content to like the final battle sequence where like you say you don't add EDI to your squad for some reason, you run into EDI fighting somewhere or something? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like something small like that. It doesn't have to be an entire mission that they add, but yeah, just like small nods or more radio contact or something like that.
Okay.
Although when I was doing my master's degree, I had to come up with a level for a game that was already out, and I fully designed a level idea for Joker's loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2, which would have involved going to Joker's homeworld and helping save his family from collectors.
Oh, that would be great.
And it's like the effect of that would be: does Joker arrive on time when rescuing you? Like, is he
destroyed?
He's like, no, I'm not gonna pick this bitch up.
Not Kelly Chambers again.
He's
no.
like distraught or something. So like he's
Kelly
distracted
Chambers.
while flying the Normandy or whatnot.
I love how people rediscovered being annoyed at Kelly every time she's like, there's a new email, your terminal commander is like, I know! And my response was, shouldn't you be feeding my fish?
Oh,
So
boy.
is there anyone that you know that you're like going to be, hey, try this game? Like they haven't played this game and be like, hey, try this. This is great.
Anyone that has not
Everyone
played
I
Mass
know.
Effect yet.
Everyone I know that is already a Mass Effect fan.
I got one friend who's never played any Mass Effect, doesn't know much of it at all, but I've gotten him excited for the remaster. I'm looking forward to that. That excites me.
To elaborate back on BioFans, I thought it's going to be the extended ending, not the original ending. Is what I meant.
Agree.
Oh, yeah.
Unless they want to beat
And-
it up.
Absolutely.
but-
They're not gonna,
Unless
I
they want
don't.
to start that again.
I think if they added a fifth ending, which is like the best possible scenario, I think fans would like that.
I feel like
don't know if
wanna
they would do that.
touch
I
anything
agree.
Controversial. Yeah, I feel
I
like
agree with that. I just think that would be a good move.
I feel
y'all
like
are aware that there's an ending where you can shoot the Star Child, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
we
the fourth
know.
ending, and that is my favorite ending.
That was an accidental ending I got.
Because that's just like a huge middle finger to all the fans that bitched and moaned repeatedly. They're like, fine, we'll just kill everybody.
I didn't know that was an option at
Well,
one point.
everybody
I was like,
die.
fuck the Star Child, and I shot him, and he's like,
Yeah.
fine. So in the cutscene started happening, I was like, oh shit, I regret this decision.
and
I started laughing my ass off.
I think what they're
You know what
gonna
would be
do
really
is-
interesting?
Well,
What's up, BioFan?
me and then Seeker. I think what's they're gonna do is try and be as like restorative to the franchise and like as minimally controversial as possible. So I think they're gonna do the expanded ending. I don't really see them adding much to it, just because I know if they do anything, it's gonna be a big to-do and people are going to discuss it. So I feel like they're going to just do what's already there, because people had positive reception of the extended ending. It did help.
Well, it did help, but yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it helped. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than it was before.
I feel like that Mass Effect 3 ending was cut off because they tried to hit the deadline of the EA's financial quarter. So they didn't finish the ending part, which it really missed, and that was the biggest mistake they made in the entire trilogy, was not finishing that off. And they came back later, as you guys said, and added the extended ending, which would have, had that come out, it would have been a much better reception of the ending. But it was already too late at that point.
The original plan for the ending was to involve the, you know, in Mass Effect 2 when Tally's investigating like the dark star, the dying star shit.
Dark energy.
That was supposed to be the original ending, but then they had to change it. So
I don't know if that was the original ending, but it was before the ending they chose. And it's
so what had happened was Russia hacked the election. Oh, no, sorry, Russia leaked the script. And
Russia did it?
It was like Russian EA or something. Someone found.
Oh, you're being serious.
I'm being serious. Yeah.
I thought you were giving us shit.
No, like I'm being for serial here. Like I forget if it was like, this is so many years ago. So if I'm not totally right, people don't tear me apart. But like I think it was like Russia EA or something to do with Russia, where they found the translated Russian script for the whole game and it leaked. Like either someone hacked into Russia EA or something. Anyway, so it leaked and people obviously like translated it. And then so like people knew like a lot of big story details hacked, like the genophage, the Geth, like a lot of the story got leaked. So then I think it was like Casey Hudson and another writer, or like the lead writer, like went into a conference room and had to decide like a new ending because the original ending got leaked. And so they wrote the original ending very quickly, or the ending we got very quickly, because they had to do like damage control because the original ending got leaked. I think that's how that went down. Is anyone else remembering this?
I know that what I saw was Drew Karpyshyn, who was the lead writer on Mass Effect 1 and on most of Mass Effect 2, said that the dark energy plot was the idea they had, and then they changed it. And he didn't give a reason why, but the original ending was going to be a binary choice between agreeing with the Reapers and letting everyone die in order to save the galaxy from dark energy completely destroying it, or rejecting the Reapers' solution and trying to solve the dark energy problem yourself, which I believe everybody would have chosen.
Yeah. That's not a choice.
Yeah.
So is it essentially, well, like, I think maybe it would have been slightly more complicated of like, the Reapers will fix the dark energy, but everyone dies. But then the next cycle continues on forever. Or like you sacrifice this cycle so the next cycle can live on forever because of the dark energy stuff. Or you like say no to the Reapers, into the Reapers, and then the dark energy stuff just like continues to end cycle after cycle or something.
Okay, I'll say about what my thought for the ending was. Considering the media landscape we live in is quite different than what it was at the time, if you consider what's risen in popularity, I don't think they'll change the ending. They may expand the fight a little bit or something like that, but I don't think they'll fundamentally change it. What I do think they will do is add a post-credit scene that will allude to things or a possible future thing.
MCU this thing with Mass Effect 4?
There's worse things they could do. There's far worse things they could do. Like consider, like just use an example of something that had a post-credit scene that I had no expectation for it having a post-credit scene. Was for those who've played Persona 5, it's a one and done self-contained story, but then they released Persona 5 Royal, which added some more stuff to it and made the ending a load sadder and made me cry. And then as I was I was watching the credits and I was literally saying to myself, why am I watching the credits? What am I expecting an MCU style post-credit scene? And then a post-credit scene happened and I was sat there, I was shooketh. let me tell you. So there's worse things than them just putting in a post-credit scene, let me tell you.
So, speaking of media and remasters, do you think Fox News is going to remaster their controversy about sex in video games with this Mass Effect thing?
Probably. I mean, the Xbox is now the Xbox Series X, which everyone's going to refer to within about 6 months as the Xbox anyway. Which I was like, well, we're literally just rehashing everything. Time is a flat fucking circle.
That's not going to go away as long as old people get offended by that kind of stuff. So
it does seem like that kind of controversy has died down since.
Yeah, I feel like there's far more controversial things they can discuss.
There's always been far more controversial things they could do. That just seems to fire people up.
Because that's always something I like to get reminded of is that Fox News thing where they're
not
like
just Fox News. In all fairness,
well, but Fox News is the one that has the clip where they are like, this game lets you have sex in the first 5 minutes of the game, and the guy from G4, because that was a thing back then too, is like, have you guys even played the game at all? The person on Fox News is like, no, I don't play video games. Those are for nerds. And the guy's like, well, you haven't played the game. What are you talking about then?
That was pretty great. Just seeing them get absolutely just smacked down.
All right, so we're talking about a lot of things that we're expecting to get added or changed with the game in this manner. Do we think anything's going to be removed from this remaster compared to the original game?
I'd be very surprised at that.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think there's any like the only thing I can think of is if there was any language where they were like misgendering someone or stuff that could be seen as in that light, but I don't think they do.
There might be one thing. Wasn't there like some Mass Effect 1 DLC that wasn't very important that was just like
Pinnacle Station?
No, not Pinnacle Station. It was some sort of just like
bring down the fire or bring down the sky. Well, that is Pinnacle Station. The other Mass Effect DLC is Bring Down the Sky, which is a good DLC.
Yeah, that is fine.
Eric, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name of it either.
That wasn't. No. It's not Pinnacle Station. It's something else, and I believe it was only on Xbox. So,
I think it was only on Xbox, and it was a very like minor DLC. Like I think it was just like a combat tournament kind of thing. And it wasn't even a storyline or anything.
It's Pinnacle Station.
Are you sure? I said it? Yes.
I literally said it. Like, is it? Pinnacle Station? Nah. But you know what's even funnier though is that Kingdoms of Amalur just got their remaster with Re-Reckoning. Wouldn't it be funny if they also had a crossover with the Mass Effect remaster? Because that would be insane.
There was a Mass Effect 3 crossover with that.
Yeah, I know. That's my point, Minius. Is that even the remaster?
Does everybody know that? I don't know. I'm just
apparently it is Pinnacle Station. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Also, Pinnacle Station was not made by BioWare, so that would make sense why it's not.
Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
the least BioWare thing in the game was not made by BioWare.
I also think that they might cut down some of the exploration on the planets. In Mass Effect 1, how you could drive around in like a 1 square mile radius.
I'd be a little surprised.
Or at least find a way to liven that up a bit.
They might cut that down because if they try to streamline the games to all kind of fit with each other, I think
they can't totally get rid of it because it is a part of like the final mission.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not getting the Mako, but just some of that, how you could go to like a planet in the random solar system that has like one thing on it that you just drive around. Like they may cut that stuff down just to save up time on the remaster, so they don't have to.
It's possible. I think they shouldn't do that because that's a lot of people's favorite part of that game.
Yeah,
the Mako is just a wild ride in general.
People like.
So are you saying to me that Mass Effect isn't just a romance simulator?
Surprisingly not. Yeah.
Exploration feel, even if you just go there to find a codex entry or something, like.
Yeah, the multiplayer is pretty damn good though.
They could kind of get the thing they had with Mass Effect 2 with the probe and get codexes and such that way, but I feel like that might be something that gets cut down just because the amount of work that would have to be put into 4K every planet.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Uranus.
If you're going to cut something, yeah. That was what I was going to ask. How many times did you guys probe Uranus in Mass Effect 2?
Every single
once.
Just once, and you're like,
No,
Yeah,
it wasn't
you find out
hurt. It was like
not doing it again.
Time.
Yeah,
it's just
I
like
sat there for maybe 15 minutes and giggled. In all fairness, I was a lot younger, but
not that much, Minius. Not that much.
Talking about cut,
no, that was like 10 years ago.
but Minius talking about cut content was supposed to segue to Mass Effect 3 multiplayer that I know that
You
you
want
actually
to?
care about. Oh, I know that you talked about that on Twitter.
No depleting fucking readiness, please.
I want
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3 multiplayer not for its integration into Mass Effect 3 single player, but because I dug the crap out of that.
I still
system.
have pictures and game clips on my Xbox from when you and I played Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, as well as there were 2 other people that joined us.
Oh yeah, and you fucked up a lot, right?
Yeah, and I still have pictures when like I'm a Krogan and the 3 of you are Volus, and I'm like babysitting y'all.
Yeah, that's. I really want to go back to that, and I would love it if it's remastered. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
No, I've heard that that's
I will
not
say,
happening.
Mass Effect 3 multiplayer made EA a shit ton of money. And if
Yeah.
EA,
Well, that was one of-
as
that was
EA
one of
likes
the
to
first
do, wants to make a
loot
shit
boxes.
ton of money off of this,
Yeah,
they
Well,
would then add a remastered multiplayer, because that would make them a shit ton of money.
and there's not a whole lot to that to that thing. It's not like facial animations and
Yeah.
dialogue and stuff. So it's very
It would
doable.
just be a paint job. Yeah.
And if they did that, I would put another 500 hours in it, probably.
Well, I mean, you need to keep servers up for it, as well as it made
No, you
them a
don't,
shit ton of
because
money,
you don't
because
because the
it was a loot
original
box.
the server there weren't servers. It was just connected and someone hosted.
Oh, it's peer-to-peer?
Yeah, it was always
Oh.
peer to peer. So that's
didn't
not a
know that.
thing. Yeah, it was always peer to peer, and that was one of the best ways the game would crash because if the person hosting
Oh, okay.
got disconnected, it would freeze it and have to reboot the whole thing on someone else's. Yeah, it was always
You
peer
would
to peer.
have to. I
So
think
It did make
Tucker,
it did make them a bunch of money because Mass Effect 3 was one of their first loot box systems. Was
Yeah.
one of the first times they integrated.
and everyone loves those.
I mean, Congress had to get involved, so because
Fucking-
EA.
yeah, aren't they being fined like many
in
million dollars
Scotland,
in
they
Scotland too? I
tried
thought it
to
was the
justify
Netherlands.
it. Yeah, in Scotland they had to try and justify it and said we don't think of them as gambling, we think of them as surprise mechanics. And to which
That was fantastic.
That's good stuff.
And the
oh,
Battlefront
stuff.
2 comment is one of the
I wanted to
most
march up there and
disliked
slap her
comments in
myself.
history. Where they're
Anyway,
talking about
I will continue to hold out hope for a Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I'm not
I'm sure
expecting.
they'll have it.
I'm not sure at all because I've been met with dead silence multiple times. And they really haven't announced the whole thing officially. And the words they used were, oh crap! I'm gonna go back to this. Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect Legendary Edition will include single-player base content and DLC for Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3, and that's all it says.
I would love to have their multiplayer in that too. It's just
at some point we need to replay that just because. But
although you could think of it as like if they're not doing the work for Mass Effect 3 to like remaster that multiplayer, maybe it's being put in with Mass Effect 4. Like that extra work is being focused there.
It's possible.
I could see that. So, what we thinking about that image that got released of the Mud Skipper? Did they call it?
What Seeker is talking about is there's also going to be a new Mass Effect game, probably.
Yeah.
They're working on it. It's in very early stages. I predict 2026. So don't.
Okay,
don't,
yeah.
And we're all going to be dead. So don't worry about it.
That is the best prediction I've seen. We will all be dead by 2026.
Well, okay.
And we will all cry, mercy, finally, thank you.
I think it could be, so like, let's say 2021, obviously we're going to get the new Trilogy remaster. Dragon Age, who the fuck knows when.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
going to say, I have
2022.
no idea.
That's
And
what
then
matters
I
is
think
when
they
we get
could-
Dragon Age.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be either 1 or 2 years after the next Dragon Age.
That soon, huh?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would love it if
my
they
guess
To
actually
be
make
fair,
it time.
if the next Dragon Age releases in like 8 years' time, it's like, hooray, we only had to wait a decade.
I don't want
Mass
to
Effect
again
get re-
open. I don't want to again open the can of worms. But the reason why this Dragon Age 4 title has taken so long is that they were making an original one, and then Anthem was like being developed, and I don't want to talk about the politics, but Dragon Age 4, the original Dragon Age 4, got axed. And then, so they had to start, so they started a new Dragon Age 4. So really, they're developed, like, the reason it's taking so long
it's the second time,
it's the second iteration is why it's taking so long.
I just want it to be good,
a lot more often than what people would think.
I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but Dragon Age 4 very important for how Mass Effect goes, because Bioware needs to re-establish itself as a premier.
It could be a ride or die.
I also do think a lot is riding on how this remaster goes. If it makes a lot of money, then I think we'll get Mass Effect 4 a lot sooner rather than
possible.
Later.
Very, very possible.
Yeah.
Am I the only person who still wants a damn KOTOR remaster? Because I feel like I am.
Sit down, Seeker. Wait your turn.
She hasn't done that in the whole podcast. What did she?
I meant waiting her turn on the KOTOR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
I think
let us have
I think the next thing that EA
Mass
is going
Effect that are good, and then maybe we can discuss that for 2030. Okay.
Well,
I think a KOTOR remake would be in order, because that combat system is very old.
Nah, I think they're not going to remake
very old
Star Wars stuff, because they're making new Star Wars stuff like Fallen Order and whatnot.
Well, they can,
so
they can do something that goes in there.
Expand that, as well as, like, I think KOTOR isn't canon or anything anymore, but all
it still is.
Oh, it is really?
Yeah, absolutely. The Revan and the Exile are absolutely in SWTOR.
Oh yeah, well, actually that's right, isn't it? I saw something on that. I'm not a huge.
I thought that they've cut a lot of what was canon, and so that might be part of the reason why
they had to set.
You can remake it to fit.
They had to set SWTOR far enough in the future from when KOTOR happened that it's kind of muddied the waters of some people say they did this, some people say they were dark side, that kind of thing. So they had to make it far enough distance. So basically, anyone you helped on any planet in KOTOR is completely fucked now. But either way, it's like, well, I did the right thing back then, is about all you can really say about yourself, really. But they had to kind of muddy the waters a bit. But other than that, they still absolutely are canon.
The remake is crazy, hopeful thinking, and BioFan's former BioFan is 100% right that they should work on the other stuff first.
You did it
again. My guess is the next EA remaster isn't going to be a Bioware thing. It's going to be Dead Space, either a trilogy remaster.
Really?
Or
I would love that. I would love Dead Space.
Oh, yeah.
That would be interesting.
Dead Space is a series that is loved just like Mass Effect and has a community that is just as passionate as Mass Effect. And
they shut down that studio, though.
Visceral? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they still own it.
They might remaster it.
No, it doesn't exist.
No, but I mean, like,
it's
the IP for Dead Space, they still own it.
They still own the IP, so they may they could get another company to remaster it and then possibly have a Dead Space 4 as well, like the way they're doing Mass Effect. Again,
Dead
which
Space
may
2, by the way.
Remaster.
Dead Space 2, by the way, one of my favorite video game commercials of all time.
Oh, what? Your mother hates
your mom is going to hate this game.
Dude,
I thought you were talking about the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star one, which is creepy as hell.
It was all about your mom, basically, and I've never heard that before in a video game commercial.
Oh, do you remember the Modern Warfare 2's Everyone's Doing It?
No.
It was an old man that was like, everyone's doing it. Some people like to do it hardcore. Some people like to get in groups and do it with other people. And it's like this whole thing like that, but he's talking about Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
God.
Okay, dude, I don't remember that.
Great back then.
Right. I'm going to try to get us back on track and talk about the actual Mass Effect game, even though I'm not helping.
No. I will say, just last point on Dead Space is some of the best sound design in any game. But yeah, on to Mass Effect.
All right, so I ran a poll on the new Mass Effect game and asked people what they wanted.
Damn, that is going back to tradition.
Wow, efficient. Okay.
Well, I ran it, and then I'm just going to go pick up the results.
You have emails to read off, too?
No, I was thinking about doing that, and anyway, so there were only 4 options, just like Twitter. It's got not as many votes. It's got like 466 votes. Right next to my STD pictures, which are fluffy STDs. I'm going to add those to it. Anyway, The most wanted thing. What? These are stuffed animals of STDs. They're hilarious. Forgot about them.
I'm glad you added that clarification.
Yeah. I need to clarify that. Yeah, not taking pictures of actual STDs. They're just like.
I was gonna say you picked up a new hobby.
Okay, so back to the what I was trying to get to before I distracted myself. The most wanted. There's a brand new Mass Effect game in the works. Which of these scenarios would you prefer for the game? I had Andromeda sequel, pre-trilogy Milky Way game, post Mass Effect 3 Milky Way game, or a time reset or a semi-reboot. There were two that stood out. The Andromeda sequel people wanted, and the post Mass Effect 3 Milky Way both got around 30%. The other ones are combined for about 20%.
They could never do anything after. They could never do anything after Mass Effect 3.
Well, yeah, they can, but it has to be an Andromeda sequel. They can't just like one-off Andromeda and
does it have to?
Yeah, they gotta.
You know
they
what
gotta
my
keep
idea?
That
you know what my idea for a Mass Effect game was?
They can do it well. They can make it work. But...
Okay, so it's during the trilogy, but it's a much smaller game, and you are CSEC, and the game is sort of like investigating stuff, and you end up sort of fighting threats to the Citadel and CSEC, but it's sort of like the Mass Effect series, but on a micro scale. I haven't played ODST, so I wouldn't know that, but apparently someone beat me to it.
The issue with that, while it would be a fun game and I would enjoy it, like the Mass Effect franchise is built on these large universe-altering plots.
Yeah.
That if they did something like that as like a next step in the if they did like that as like a one-off side project, after,
that's what
like,
I mean.
The next game comes out, that might be okay, but if they do that as like the next installment, I don't think that would be received well.
No. What I mean is like don't call it like Mass Effect 4 or anything. Call it like
it'd be Mass Effect something else.
Mass Effect CSEC or something like you know what I mean. So it's like they say, oh yeah, Mass Effect 4 is coming, but in the meantime we're working on this other thing that's Mass Effect CSEC or something. Like
I think it should be after they have a next title that's positively received.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. I'm just saying that's a thing they could do.
It does sound kind of like Halo ODST, which the community had the same kind of response. Like, oh, this doesn't have Master Chief. This doesn't have that. Like, we're not excited for it. And then it came out, and people are like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, I think they could get away with it. What I really most want in video games is a Mass Effect style game combined with Firefly, the TV show.
That would be good.
Where you're the captain. I mean, if you haven't seen Firefly, the TV show, go to Hulu, go watch it. It's the #1 recommendation I have for Mass Effect fans. But it's basically the concept is it's on Hulu, yeah. And then they got a movie, Serenity, that came out afterwards. It's basically the guy who's the captain of a ship. Surprisingly, captain of a ship with a lot of crewmates, and they go around and do stuff. But they're in desperate straits, and they have to take jobs they don't like, and that kind of stuff. So that's, if you want to watch that, I think that would make a fantastic game.
Considering they do share a cast member as well.
That's right. You could easily set that in the Mass Effect universe and have you be the captain of a ship that's a semi-mercenary, and you got to make decisions. Are you a good person? Are you a bad person? Are you going to let your crew starve? That kind of stuff. And it would be a smaller type story, maybe set in a corner of the galaxy where you're operating outside the law, you're stuck. I think that would be fantastic.
Considering since Mandalorian's all the rage now, space westerns definitely need to be more of a thing than they have been.
Yeah.
And games are definitely the best place to start exploring that, because there's so much stuff in like Western/Ronin movies that you can just immediately repurpose into space, and suddenly it's like, whoa, this is amazing, and it feels fresh and new, and yeah, so good.
Like, remember when Jack is like, this is a nice ship, you should go pirate. I was like, I should, Jack.
I should, absolutely.
I mean, the entire entertainment industry itself is very reactionary. So, yeah, with the success of Mandalorian and stuff like that, we could see more in that idea.
I think that would be by far the best option. I also think they're not going to do that, but you could set it during the Mass Effect 3 trilogy, and so that way you don't have a problem.
You don't have
and
to
you can have
interact
little,
with it, yeah.
You could have little illusions, like maybe a specter is chasing you at some point.
Well, yeah, I feel like it'd have to take place before Mass Effect 3 because it seems like the Reapers kind of.
That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3 is a gap of like 6 years. You could easily slip something in there.
Oh yeah. But
not to mention, like, if the war kicks off, you can start really hammering in of like, are we going to be good people or are we going to steal from refugees and shit like that? So
I was thinking it would be separate from that story, but either way, it could go there. So that would be my wish for this. Let's go over everyone's wish, unless you guys got something else you want to talk about.
There's another idea for something that could be set with Mass Effect 3 is an RTS style game. Where
you're still harping on that, man.
Well, yes, because
it's
been 4 years.
Because Halo Wars 2 fucking slaps. And
everything is a Halo reference to you. Oh, Halo did it first.
And when I was
Simpsons did it.
Flynn, and still, one of my most heartbreaking moments when I was doing YouTube was when I was interviewing Aaron Flynn, and the audio got corrupted, and the entire interview.
Oh, no.
Shut down. But during that, I was talking to Aaron Flynn about a Mass Effect RTS, and that was apparently something that BioWare has considered and has not. They haven't like developed it, but they've always kind of like, how could we get this to work, or something like that. And I think that would be a fun way to expand the universe.
It's not a bad idea, but I think that has to also come after successfully.
Yeah, guys, we
need
need to
they need to relaunch
before we start messing around with it.
Considering, just to sort of like segue into that, another thing that's sort of similar to the RTS thing, but also telling sort of a Mass Effect story is, I doubt that you are, but is anyone familiar with Pathfinder Kingmaker? Because if you're not, it's like it's if you imagine if you imagine D&D, but you also have the mechanics to build a kingdom that you run, and if you could have like repurpose that for Mass Effect, so you have your let's go save the galaxy story, but then you have to come back and build your settlement or whatever, like, which is what I was hoping. Oh no, it's not The Sims. It's like you have to make sure there's food. You can build. You can have espionage and spies and resources allocated to research and all sorts of things. It's a whole thing, but it's very fascinating to watch it boil down to a mechanics perspective. Because, like I said, you have this big like save the world story, and then you have to go back and make sure, like, oh, your peasants all have food and
you also
everything.
Have to make sure you get 10 apples for Granny down the road.
Pretty much.
Is that what you would want out of a new Mass Effect game? Something like that?
I'm just saying that if they were going to do like an RTS element, if they were to incorporate some mechanics from that, they wouldn't necessarily have to write off the Save the World thing, but they could also incorporate the RTS stuff as well, and that could be cool.
So they could XCOM the RTS, where each race
that would be
like each country.
And
that would be the choice mechanic. Is like, do you help the Solarians right now, or the Krogans need assistance? And like, depending on who you help and which side you help more, changes ways you can upgrade your group, the strategies that you have, the missions that you have, things like that in an XCOM fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So
people get too attached to things in BioWare. I don't think an XCOM thing would work too well.
So for the next game, I mean, the whole reason they did Andromeda was it opened it up to where they could continue the franchise easily because they painted themselves into a corner with the Mass Effect 3 ending. So I think what could be smart is if you did a sequel to Andromeda, but made it like several hundred or even like 1,000 years later, to where like it's almost another like new franchise with like nods to previous.
The colonization was successful, but
it's a new trilogy.
Maybe like your character grows up on Rider 1, for example, like
that
little nods like that, to where like the story can be totally new and it can have a maybe more gripping plot.
Could it allow them to have more races? Because kind of only having the Angara was
Yeah.
Well,
there could be like a
little-
footnote of and the Quarian arc was found. It's like, hooray! I would have loved to have played that, but it
1,000
happened, so
years
good.
later.
Now it's canon.
Now that Korean art, guys. Like, everyone seen the Koreans?
We
Or
brought
like
home.
it could be like 100 years later with the arrival of the Quarian arc and your character grew up on Rider 1 or something. But have the story be like
It would be a
they can
like a
diverge from what they did in Andromeda while still building on top of it. If that makes sense.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because I don't
kind
feel
of a
like they
mix
can
of both.
ignore Andromeda. Like I feel like if they try to ignore Andromeda, that's just gonna make it.
It's
I
gonna
think they
be a
can
whole-
sidestep it without
Yeah.
leaning too hard into it. If that makes sense.
Kind of like what like Arkham Origins in that Arkham series. Kind of
Yeah,
like that.
have Andromeda be like an origins story for the franchise moving forward.
Yeah, for
So
like, a new
like, don't play
trilogy,
as
yeah.
Ryder again. Play as someone different. One thing I like, you guys know Angry Joe. One thing that he brought up would have been, if they had the time and the effort, could have been really cool. Is the basis of Andromeda, they had the opportunity for you to play as multiple races because there was multiple Pathfinders, and you're essentially a person waking up from a sleeper pod. So they could have made the story where you could have been a different race. So I think that could be something for them to look into for the next one.
That might be the most requested thing about every new game.
Yeah.
Is multiple races.
Just like doing that though, that changes a lot more than the story.
Yeah, no, you'd have to. It'd be more complicated, but it is highly requested.
Well, like if they can do the Inquisitor and have it be 4 different races, I think
it works
they
in
can.
Dragon Age.
Like, while that was great and maybe not like perfect, like there wasn't necessarily a reference to me being a Canary every other minute, but I still could be one. So like,
but when I was a Canary, my god, did everyone stare at my boobs?
But a lot of the story in Mass Effect, like the trilogy, dealt with you being a human, like being the first human Spectre, and then the human Reaper. Like,
so maybe they make.
If you're an elf, there's a lot of dialogue to say,
so
knife
maybe
ears and all that stuff. So yeah.
So maybe the next one is less about you being a human. Like Andromeda was also very much a human story. So maybe they make the next one more about a certain plot and less about being a human, and you have multiple races and things. That could be a very good
have the story focus on the world more than the
Here's the thing that sort of was the biggest disappointment to me about Andromeda was when you meet the Angara, and it's like actual like when you go to I forget what their home planet is, Aya, their planet, and it's like, holy shit, this is like first contact. We're actually meeting these aliens for the first time. And then within 30 seconds, everyone's speaking English to you. It's like, this seems like a really wasted opportunity in terms of like I know they have like universal translators and things, but
it was heartbreaking.
This is not what it should be. And that was just like, why can't you do that? So if I had like the one biggest request, it was like, let us have actual first contact where we're meeting a group of people from somewhere else that we have no frame of reference for whatsoever.
They were immediately just like friendly too for something that they only have the Ket, where they fight them, and there's this entire new thing, and they're just like, oh yeah, hey, come in, have some soup with us or whatnot. It's like, wow.
Well,
it was a little rushed.
I would love a sci-fi game where part of the gameplay is trying to figure out the other alien race's language. Where you got to go around and find monoliths and stuff like that.
Or like we needed to gain, like
Go to
have
schools.
some time where maybe we were gaining their trust a little bit more. But
I don't want to get too into Andromeda, but we all agree that the actual plot part of Andromeda is ridiculously short.
Yeah,
and they didn't actually finish anything.
Like Andromeda has some good bits.
Andromeda was fantastic. The open fluidness of like that was great. And I would love
on normal difficulty. I would say that they had some bullet spongy problems.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The bullet sponges were a bit annoying, but that's tweakable.
Just the flow.
To go back to that. I mean, Seeker wasn't invited because she wasn't working. Sorry to bring that up, but we were invited to play Andromeda early and play 16 hours of it, maybe less.
Yeah, I got further.
We were there for 3 days.
We were.
Yeah, Eric almost finished the game.
I almost
and we didn't realize it.
Yeah, and so like basically
You got to Kadara, right? That's the farthest.
I got to the point where you go. Remember where you go to, what is it? That one like massive floating facility that like starts the kind of like end game. It's not the final battle, but it's the like mission.
It was right before it.
Right
Yeah.
before.
There?
Yeah,
the last.
I got right up to that where like you go to that like secret facility that then starts the end game, and they're like, "Oh no, don't go up to your meeting room." And I was like, "Why?" They're like, "Just don't do it." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, because one of the last things I remember seeing was you dancing at the Kadara port.
Oh, I fully did love that part of the game. Yeah.
Because we weren't allowed to record.
I was not allowed to record it, but I had a lot of other shit recorded. I was like, I have more than enough video footage. I want to play this game. And I thought, so when I was told I couldn't progress any further in the story, I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm like halfway through it. I did not know I was basically at the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see earlier videos of us thinking, how big is this game? And it wasn't, because that...
Yeah, if I had if they had let me play the ending, I would have been like, oh, I mean, that was a good time. I enjoyed myself, but also I thought there was gonna be more to the story.
I have questions.
Yeah,
and it did feel like how you're saying that it felt like there was some lacking with it. How I thought there was going to be more. It felt like that was the plan, and the plan just didn't happen, because I'm sure if they had DLC. The way how this game just feels open world, while the other Mass Effect games are kind of more like you select a mission and you kind of go with that mission. Andromeda was very open world. So if they added the other DLC and other content that they may have added, it would have fleshed it out. It would have made it feel like there was
more. To quote, like, to semi-paraphrase Gamer Indie 83, like, there was too much open world to where the open world became the focus of the game, not the plot.
Yeah, that was my main issue with it too.
Yeah,
where it just slowed it down too much. In fact,
it was like
with a new
open game with a plot, not a plot with an open world.
That's ridiculously hard to combine those.
Mafia 2 is another example of that. It's a fantastic game, but there's nothing to the open world just kind of felt lacking. Everything. That's also a game that got a remaster, but it was shit.
We've been going for a while. What points do you guys want to still make?
Well, we haven't even touched Dragon Age yet, so.
Well, I don't think we're supposed to.
I wasn't planning to.
Yeah, this is a
if you guys want to chat Dragon Age, you can.
What about the BioWare book thing that's coming out next month?
I forgot about that.
Or
Wait,
something
what?
that is.
Hold on. Yeah, the new BioWare book. It's an art book.
It's
I need to pre-order that.
Of a bunch of unused assets and everything, like it's supposed to be a bunch of back end things.
I need it.
So you're saying there's gonna be
Can you link me?
There's gonna be things that weren't put in the game that there's art for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Art of the Mass Effect Trilogy Expanded Edition comes out.
I don't want to know about it. That's just gonna make me feel bad.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to pre-order it right now.
I'm excited for it because I'm kind of getting back into YouTube. I love
that art of the Mass Effect book. Okay, good, Tucker. We need to talk about something later. Okay. Let me pre-order that. Or what else do we need to talk about?
We talked about the next game. We talked about the remaster. I think we've kind of covered everything.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this stuff.
Yeah.
It's something to go on. I do think there's a couple big steps. The first is how the trilogy is perceived. The second is how Dragon Age 4 is perceived, and I know that's an entire separate conversation. But if they do that, BioWare can turn this thing around and actually go into former BioFan Eric's last video, Mass Effect is not dead.
Yes. I still have some relevant videos, which to me is shocking. Like, some of my Dragon Age 4 news coverage is still maybe kind of relevant, and I'm like, oh, well, okay.
All right, cool. We're still around on Twitter, so if you do have questions...
Yeah, hit us up.
Yeah,
I'm amazed anyone tries to talk to me about Mass Effect or Dragon Age.
Everybody who responds to who tags me in something, I try to respond.
Yeah, I'm going to focus more on getting back into Twitter and stuff because I'm getting back into YouTube, but I'm not just doing BioWare stuff. Like, I'm putting out a video about Dead by Daylight that I'm working on, just an idea for how Chucky could work in it. So,
Okay.
All right, guys.
Enjoy.
Awesome to talk to you about. It's a bummer that Seeker's internet was, or not Seeker, but Ability Drain's internet wasn't working. Yeah, Seeker's here. Ability Drain. I'm throwing you guys both together because I hear your British accents, and that's all I go on. It's very rude of me. All right, so since I'm going to edit this together, Eric, plug your Twitter and Instagram again.
So my Twitter is EricAnder94. So my first name EricAnder 94, and then my Instagram, if you want the gym thirst pics, is EricWritesStuff.
All right, Seeker, where are you at?
I am at SeekerCat 5500, as always.
Tucker, where can we reach you?
What is my Twitter? Oh, my Twitter's just @Tucker, so my last name and then my name.
That's great. I have no clue what my Twitter is.
And then YouTube is, the title's just talking about games. That's just the name of the channel.
I'm at MiniusGC. Thanks for joining us on this. Sorry about the lateness, but this is why the original podcast died. Literally, we could not get together for a week. Literally, everyone's like, I can't do this, I can't do that, and we still couldn't get everybody on because Ability Drain couldn't manage it. Because
we miss you, AD.
Yeah, we really do. It would have been better. But you got what you got, and hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to chat with us, chat with us. If not, best of luck in the rest of 2020. I hope you're still alive when these games come out.
Yes. I just hope we will survive the rest of it. Jesus.
All right, have a good one.
Okay, have a good one. Much love, guys.
Bye.
Bye.